Bookish Babes, and welcome to day 11 of the 12 Days of Bookmas. For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy. I read all types of books, primarily fantasy romance, so if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe to my channel down below. In today's video, we are doing a video that I did last year that I'm pretty sure originated, or at least I saw from Becca and the Books, and it's called These Books Will Self-Destruct. And basically, I'm going to be choosing 12 books that I have to read over the next 12 months by the time this video rolls around again, and if I haven't read them, then I have to unhaul them. Now, there are probably books that I already was on the fence about. I wasn't sure if I was going to get to even in the year. I know. What are you saying if you're thinking of books on your shelves that you see that you don't think you're actually going to read? I don't really know what's wrong with me. I have a problem. But nevertheless, that's what's happening here. And before you also say it, yes, we are going to reflect on how I did for last year. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I already unhauled my own self a lot of the books that were in that. But we're going to let the TBR video say for itself. So that's the first thing we'll see. And then we'll see what 12 books I've decided to make either get read or go away. Okay? And if I get rid or I'm threatened to get rid of a favorite of yours, I'm sorry, but it's just probably not that interesting to me. Okay, let's dive in. All right, I have Little Miss Ma'am on me, but let's see what book number 1 was, okay? Book number 1, my mom would be very sad that is on this list because she is obsessed with this series. And I don't know, I've just never had an inkling or an itching to pick it up. And that is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I can tell you for a fact, I know exactly where that book is. I have not picked that book up. I keep telling myself that I'm going to read it, and I'm really just not. So I did not read it, will not read it. I'm going to be unhauling it after this video. All right, let's move to book 2. This one I feel like people are going to get mad at me for having on this list. However, I've tried reading it twice. I've soft DNF'd it. I figure the third time is the charm, right? And that is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. Did not read The Nightingale either. If we're being honest, I'm never going to read it. I don't know why I keep holding on to it. I guess I keep thinking that Kristen Hanna is going to be... Now, the thing is, I did read The Fourth Wind, or start to read The Four Winds, and really was liking it, but I remember starting The Nightingale and not loving it. Like, I don't know, I'm not a World War II girly. I just need to unhaul it, unfortunately. Let's see what book 3 was. Next one is a book that I literally said in my bookshelf tour I don't feel like I could get rid of in good conscience. However, I don't think I can keep it in good conscience because it's taking up space on my shelf. And I just don't ever see myself wanting to read this. And that is The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. Obviously, I didn't read that. I don't want to get rid of that book, though. It's so pretty. If I don't get rid of that book, can I get rid of a different book? I don't know. But, like, you didn't read it, and you're never going to read it. No, we're unhauling it. We're unhauling it. We're unhauling it. Also, we're doing terrible so far. We're doing terrible. The next book is one that everybody says only part 1 should exist and that you shouldn't read part 2. You should pretend it doesn't exist. And I just need to know for myself or just get it off the shelf. And that is The Chain by Adrienne McKenty. I'm not getting rid of that. I'm sorry. I am going to read that. Bree actually from Four Paws in a Book just read it and really enjoyed it. And I have hope for that one. So yes, I know it's my own self-destruct rule, but I'm gonna get rid of the special pretty edition of that other book. Okay, so we're just gonna let me have this. We're gonna let me have this, and I'm not unhauling it. Next book. Book number 5 is one of the first books that I bought back when I was becoming a booktube girly, and I just don't know if it's really for me anymore, but I've heard good things about it, so I didn't want to get rid of it. It almost did not make the cut for the 61 book haul the other day. And that is Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. Yeah, I definitely don't own that book anymore. I have already unhauled that. So, good job, Rainy. Next book. This next one, it's like I either read it or I get rid of it. Because I've been saying I'm going to read it for forever, and I have not read it, and I just need to know for myself whether I'm going to like it or love it. And that is A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. I am halfway through this book currently. I was buddy reading it with Coda and another friend, and I dropped way off the bandwagon. Am I going to get rid of it? No, I'm going to freaking finish this beast. Just probably in 2025, and I'm not restarting. I would never restart that book. All right, on to the next one. Next one, it really should be 2 books by this author because I absolutely hated one of their books, but I figure I need to give them a second chance, and if I hate this one as well, then I can just get rid of the third one on my shelf, you know? and that is Conversations with Friends by Miss Sally Rooney. Yeah, I've already unhauled that. I got rid of all Sally Rooney books. I don't care about Miss Rooney. She's not for me. Good job, Rainy. Let's move on. Next one I almost unhauled already because I've heard nothing but bad things about it, but I absolutely loved the first book that I read by this author duo so bad. Like, I want to believe that they can make this work for me. And that is Do I Know You by Emily Wibberley and Austin Siegmund Broca. Yeah, I already unhauled that. I heard such terrible things about this book, and I've unhauled the roughest draft since then. Like, yeah, they're a good romance writing duo, but I just don't really care. I just don't care. Next book. This one is a thriller that I've just had on my shelf for forever. I think it's one of the first thrillers I bought, and so I either read it or it goes vamoose, and that is The Whisper Man by Alex North. Definitely already unhauled this one as well, and The Shadows. I just couldn't be bothered with these books. It's hilarious that I already unhauled these books because I remember when I did a giant unhaul a couple of months back, and I guessed that I just went rogue. And so you know what? Rainy knew I wasn't going to read these books. Rainy freaking knew. Next book. I have a book that has quite a lot of books in the series, and so I figure I should read the first book and just decide whether I'm going to collect the rest of them because I have at least book 2, or I should get rid of the first 2 to create a lot more room on my shelves and not end up buying all of them because I am a notorious buyer of series without knowing if I'm going to like them. Okay? And that is The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. Yeah, I'm not getting rid of this. I just got the new special edition of it a couple of months ago, and so I did unhaul this edition, but I'm not unhauling that. Like, I've just decided that's not a thing that I'm doing because they're republishing this entire series and, like, editing them, so, like, I think it's okay to get rid of this edition because that's the old one, but I'm not getting rid of this season or book. All right, next one. The next one is from Illumicrate. It's very pretty. However, I've not heard a single person say that this book is good. So just because a book is pretty doesn't mean you should keep it on your shelf if you're never going to read it, okay? And that is Book of Night by Miss Holly Black. Fun fact, I may or may not also have this book on next year's Self-Destruct because I filmed that part of picking the books before I filmed this part. And so, fun fact, this book stays. This book stays. Last one. And the last book is probably the oldest book on my TBR. And I'm pretty sure it was also Meg with Books' oldest book on my TBR. I've had this book for forever, and I just am not picking up this series. So that's going to change with the new year. And that is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. Def already unhauled that shit. I def already did. Oh, I def already did. Well, let's tally then and see how we did, friends. I unhauled 5. I am getting rid of 3 more. I have read/slightly read 1, and I am keeping 3 others. That is not the greatest that I ever could have done, but you know, it is what it is, friends. It is what it is. And it's fine. We will survive. So now let's talk about the books that I will be doing for Self-Destruct for 2025. Okay, so the first one actually is a whole entire series that I will be getting rid of if I don't read it. And I hope that I do because I already stamped this as part of being my library, but that's fine. And it's Lessons in Corruption by Gianna Darling. And this is a motorbike, I think, mafia romance. But the first one is like a teacher-student or like age gap relationship. But I've heard it's not that, I don't know, it's not that good. But I have 4 out of like the 7 books, and I just need to decide if this is actually going to be a series that I am interested in or not. And if it is, I'll continue collecting them. And if it's not, I can actually unhaul all of them. So make some more room on my shelves, you know? We have a book that I bought forever ago, and I can't even remember which bookstagrammer told me that this book was good, but I have not picked it up, and I just don't know if I ever am going to. And that's Out of Love by Hazel Hayes. Now, I do know that I'm pretty sure Jan Agaton is obsessed with her, which has made me think that I should actually pick this up. But I don't know very much about it. All I know is that it's a love story told in reverse. So it kind of sounds like that In 5 Years musical. And I wasn't the biggest fan of that one, but so I'm like hesitant because of that. But I don't know. I could be persuaded to pick this up. Up next, we have one that I've tried to start like 3 different times, and I've just gotten like 20 pages in and been like, I'm confused. This is not the season for this book. And maybe it's never the season for this book. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, hear me out. I know this book is beloved, but I am not a sci-fi girly. And I know a lot of people say, but you'll like it anyway. But that was what you said about Project Hail Mary, and that was not the case, okay? So I don't believe all of these people. I want to love this book. I'm going to try again. Don't you worry. But I'm just not sure, guys. I'm just not sure. Next one is one that I bought recently, and honestly, I should not have. I don't know why I always buy into FOMO for books, but now that I've heard more about about what this book entails. I just know that it's probably not a book for me. And that is The North Wind by Alexandria Warwick. I've heard that this is a Norse mythology, like Greek-y gods type story. And we all know by now that that's not a book that Rainy is normally interested in. I am going to give it a try with the power to DNF if it's not for me. I don't know why I keep picking books up when I'm just not sure. That's just not helping anybody. The next book I have is a book that, regardless of whether I read this or not, I will read another like series within this world, but I've just been told that you should read this first, and that is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. I don't really have any interest in reading this. I've heard the show is not bad, but I really would just want to read Six of Crows, but I've heard that you should read this first, or a lot of stuff in the Grishaverse gets spoiled, but I don't really have interest in reading this because I've heard the books are not that great. But like, if someone tells me that I should try to do this anyway, I probably will pick it up, but I don't really want to. I'm not gonna lie, at the point of me filming this video, I have not watched my reflection yet because I filmed this first because the reflection is being filmed at my mother's house. And there's not really a great filming spot / lighting spot in my mom's house for filming other parts of clips. So this book, I'm pretty sure, is already on my self-destruct from last year, and I'm pulling it around for one more year. Okay, I can do what I want. And that's Book of Night by Holly Black. I have the special edition from Illumicrate, and I did almost get rid of it. I really did, but for some reason, I just have not. I don't know why. I just can't seem to get rid of this book, but I'm willing to give it one more year. I'm willing to give it another breath of life. Up next is a book that I was supposed to read in October or September for a Mystic Readathon, and I didn't get to it, and I've heard nothing but bad things about it, and I'm scared, and it's a special edition, and I need it off my shelves if I'm not going to read it, and that's The Curse of Blood and Wolves by Melissa McTiernan. I have not heard one single person say one good thing about this book, but it is very pretty, okay? Like, it's beautiful, it's the moment, but is it actually the moment? Is it actually any good? I don't know, and I'm scared to find out. The next one is one that I just have to read by now because I just have to know. I have to know what it's about. And that is Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. I've heard a lot of things about this book. I've heard there's a shark smut moment in this, okay? I've heard a lot of things, and I want to be able to watch Gavin Reads It All's vlog where he spoils this whole book. I want to be able to read that. I want to be able to watch it, so I need to read this book. I don't know a lot except there's a lighthouse and there's a shark smut and whatever that freaking means, I do not know. But I need to get into this. Up next is one that I picked up because I think I heard one person talk about it, but then since then I've heard a lot of people say it was just alright. And you know me, there is nothing worse than a it was just alright book, especially when it's over 500 pages. And that is The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle, okay? It is an up-and-coming new romantasy that I think starts a series. However, I cannot be invested in reading this if it is just alright. I don't have time for just alright books. Up next is a book that I actually soft DNF'd at the very end of this year, literally like 2 weeks ago, but I'm willing to give it one more chance, but if I haven't read it in a year, it's going off the shelves. And that's A Dark and Drowning Tide by Alison Saft. I think it was not the time to read it. I just wasn't feeling it. I could tell that like the writing was fine, but there was just something about it that wasn't doing it for me in the moment that I had to read it at that exact time, so maybe I'll try again and maybe I won't. Up next is one that y'all are going to be like, Rainy, you've tried to read this book 2 or 3 times, but there's a story behind it, okay? There's a story. And it's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Now, here's the story. I got this as a Secret Santa gift from someone in my circus camp, and I felt really bad. I didn't tell her that I have tried before 2 times and cannot stand this book. I'm going to give it one more good old college try, okay? And if I have not even tried to pick it up or I've tried and I've failed, then I sell this copy, okay? Now, I will say, it's a very floppy paperback. We really love that for me, but I loved Peaches and Honey, and that's Addie LaRue coded. So maybe if I read this after Peaches and Honey, it will redeem this book for me, okay? Okay. And then last but not least, I put this one on here because I think Mel from Eleanor Reads read it recently and said it was just alright, and then another person read it and said it was just alright, and I don't need just alright special editions on my shelves, and that is The Half King by Melissa Landers. I've heard like it's a Sandman vibe, which like I can normally get behind, and this is stunning, like a stunning special edition, okay? Like they really knocked it out of the park with this one, but I just don't know if this is going to be a book for me. It says, in a world where birth order determines your fate, what if everything you believed about yourself was a lie? I don't know, but it's also like 500 pages, and I need somebody to give this a glowing review so that I prioritize this sooner than later. And so those are the 12 books that I have decided are going to get the boot in 2025. If you got to the end of this, let's put a bone emoji because I'm looking at Shadow and Bone. Let me know out of these 12 if there's any of these books that I should really prioritize. If any of these books are books you want to buddy read with me, let me know that as well, because buddy reading will hold me accountable on my shit. So let me know if you want to read any of these with me. And a special shout out to all of my residents in my Friends Theme Patreon. I love you all so very much. You are fabulous. You are the reason that I do what I do. If you're interested in learning more about it and learning about our exclusive video content and extra sprints and quarterly content planning and all the things that we do in there, the links will be underneath this video. And with that, my friends, please make sure that you like and subscribe to my videos so that you don't miss out on future ones. You can follow me on everything. All social media is Rainy Blue Reads. And with that, my friends, I'll see you in a video very soon. Bye!